Well, Leanna, thank you so much for joining me on Behind the Art. I know we've kind of known each other for quite a bit. I think I sort of met you through Facebook. I think there was a Facebook group called like Monument something or other, and there's a bunch
Probably.
of other artists. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great. Thank you for having me.
So, did you do anything for the new year? Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah, happy New Year. Luckily I've been kind of you know, it's been an easy couple few weeks to the new year after, working on a huge project at the end of the year. I didn't really get to have a time off or relax. I worked on New Year's Day, so but now luckily I finished that, so now I can have a little bit of time off and just kind of recoup a little bit.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah, kind of the older I get, the less exciting New Year's celebration becomes. It
Mhm.
starts off you're going out, you know, with the public doing something like a party, and then it just becomes like you stay at home. I think we watched Stranger Things. That was like the season finale or something. That was what we did.
Right.
So
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, it's nice to kind of stay home and kind of just let the year kind of roll over and not make a big deal of it.
yeah, totally. So, like, when did you like? Did you always were you always kind of into art and design, or was it something that you sort of developed over the years, or was it like did it when you were you always creative, like when you were younger, and then it kind of led into this?
Yeah, yeah. So when I was younger, I started with just drawing mostly horses all the time.
Okay,
Um, and then I don't know what prompted me to do this, but I really wanted to like have a book where I could draw my own horses in. Instead of, like I just wanted to take my books that I owned and make my own books out of them. So I would say the graphic design part started when I started making layouts in Photoshop. Maybe, sorry, my cat.
no
um,
worries.
he wants to be involved. I don't know if it was Photoshop or if it was like Microsoft Word. I really don't know, but I would pretty much type out all of the information and make the like copy layouts for my books, and then I would draw my own pictures.
Okay,
So that was like my first delve into that kind of work. And then I have a very specific memory of I had to do a PowerPoint for school, and I never used PowerPoint before. Let me get my cat down here. Okay. He has to be. Ugh. Anyway, so yeah, I discovered PowerPoint, and I discovered like the marble background effect with like the emerald green like headline fonts. I'm like, this is amazing. And I was so proud of that presentation. And I kind of think like that was the real like jumping off point. Like this is something that I think is really fun and cool. Then, as time went on, I with MySpace layouts, MySpace train layouts, all
yeah.
that fun stuff. Um, but yeah, it's just always been something that I've done. I've always been a more creative person. And I'm glad that I could get a job doing what I loved.
Yeah, so what was when did you kind of start doing this professionally, or at least when you got your first creative job? When was that? Was that kind of after college, or did you go to college?
Yeah, yeah. I went to SUNY Ulster for graphic design um, here in New York. So I started kind of doing like band work, like that kind of grew out of the MySpace stuff because I would meet, these bands or bands would want to work with me from there. And of course, there's a lot of local bands. And yeah, so around when I graduated college, that's like when I kind of started freelancing on the side. But as soon as I graduated college, I actually got a job through one of my professors. I edited photos for a travel, like a startup travel business, something. It's kind of hard to explain. It was like some niche idea. They're gonna have kiosks all over the world, and you can print pictures of where you were while you were there, and I had to edit all the photos. Um, but yeah, I started that, and I freelanced on the side, working for a lot of local bands. Then what did I do? Then I worked for a magazine. well, not a magazine, a hair dye company that did magazine ads. So I was designing magazine ads for them. Then I worked as a designer for a travel agency. And then while I was there, I got scouted for my first like merch job. So I left that job to become, a designer for this merch company, and then ultimately became their art director.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been curious because honestly, I have done merch designs before, but like I'm just looking through your work. You're just so prolific, and like you have so many different styles of design. And I was always curious, how do you, because I'm old, so like there's a certain thing when you lose touch with like the modern trends. And I know like bands tend to like want certain trends, and how do you stay on top of that? Like how do you kind of know what's trendy and what's not trendy? Because I'm kind of like old school where I'm just like, oh, something this would look great on a t-shirt, but then sometimes it doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I have that problem sometimes. I would say my biggest source of inspiration is Pinterest. Um, that is like, you can see, everything that's new and, trending. And I mean, of course, like you kind of have to tweak your style to like the band and what they like and their merch if they want you to play off of merch they've done in the past. Um, but yeah, I just usually it's just Pinterest is my best friend.
Yeah,
That's where
I kind of use Pinterest. Like I use ZBrush and like kind of 3D modeling.
Mhm.
I tend to use Pinterest to kind of just get some creature ideas. Like I'll say
Mhm.
creature with no eyes, or fangs or whatever. But yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's I think that's common with just designers and artists in general. Like just sort of trying to keep things fresh. And
Mhm.
but I noticed there was one shirt you did for Spirit Box. It almost looked like it had like a orca, and it
Oh
looked
yeah.
like an oceanside like spray paint kind of like street vendor kind of look. And
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
curious, was that something that the band asked for, or was that something that you kind of just thought of and thought they might like, and then
The band actually asked for that one. We had done a like spray paint style shirt, like I think it was back in 2020, and we kind of wanted to do that because it kind of fit the ocean theme vibe, just something a little more playful and fun. So
yeah.
yeah, I always enjoy working on stuff that's kind of unique and different than what I usually do because it's such a good like learning opportunity. Um, yeah, and trying to make it look authentic is tough, especially with that spray painted look if you're not actually spray painting. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. I assume you do you work mostly in Photoshop and Illustrator, or do you kind of do both? Like,
Yeah, I do both. So like a lot of the times I'll play around with like text and Illustrator because I just think it's easier to adjust things and make it, how you want. And then definitely Photoshop for the rest of it. Um, yeah.
yeah, I've kind of, because my current job, I work for a music promoter, and I occasionally have to design some like just t-shirts, but it's mainly like they send me the stuff. Like artists will design a flyer, and they kind of want me to take bits and pieces and sort of do all that stuff. But I think now with t-shirt processing, back in the day, like you'd have to really worry about like one color, two colors. Now they can just do full on direct to garment like prints.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you're actually kind of available or able to do more complex designs on t-shirts nowadays.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
do you like? 'Cause I know a lot of your stuff is kind of more black and white, single color. Was that your choice, or was that like a band or the management kind of wanting you know?
Yeah, so it depends. Like sometimes they do say how many colors they want, sometimes they don't. It's honestly sometimes it's easier for me just to design in one color. Um and I like the look. But yeah, like usually they will say, like we need to stick to like two or three colors and I try to work by that. The one thing I've from working with a merch company with direct to garment is I don't know if it's more expensive or it just takes longer to print. I'm not really sure. But I just know that, when I worked at that company, it was kind of like we tried to avoid it in a way. So that's kind of
Okay.
why I try to simplify my colors just so, it's easier for the client, easier for whoever's printing it. Just that's just how I was taught.
Yeah, I kind of because I was in a few bands like years ago, and we would go through a screen printer, and yeah, we because we have to pay for each color, so we'd always just kind of do
Mhm.
a two color or one color thing. But I
Right.
honestly think there's a certain look, it's almost kind of like a retro look when it's just one color that is
Yeah.
really popular these days, and I guess that kind of works out for you because then it like makes things a little bit easier
Yeah.
because I do remember the old school like metal shirts like that were just this huge sticker on the front, and like when you'd wear it you just feel like the weight of this like vinyl
Right.
sticker, and it's
Yes,
kind of
for
uncomfortable.
sure. Yeah, I know. I usually try to avoid like too dense of a print just for that purpose. I don't want people like sweating and, being uncomfortable.
so so when it comes to designing, so do you work on multiple designs and then kind of present the the company or the band like say five different designs and they kind of pick and choose, or do you talk with them and they kind of give you an idea? I mean, honestly, obviously the spray paint one that you talk with the band, but
Mhm.
dealing with any other kind of bigger bands, like do you have to kind of present them with multiple designs and they sort of like pick and choose, or how does that work?
So, let's see. It kind of depends. So, I've kind of moved past the point of like spec work where I just pitch a bunch of stuff and they take what they want and then I just have leftover stuff. Now I'm usually commissioned to make pretty much everything. I'm always paid something for what I do, even if they don't use it. And sometimes it's just, like I'll submit designs for a merch company and they pay me like a submission fee just for the design. And if it's not approved, at least I'm paid the submission fee. Or if it is approved, you get paid the full amount for what the design is worth. Um, but yeah, it's mostly like I try to get information to, work on stuff, but a lot of people just really don't know what they want. So a lot of it is just kind of, you know, you just have to watch their music videos, read their lyrics, look at merch they've already done, and just kind of figure out what you think would work for them. And I mean, sometimes it's hit or miss. I feel like I've gotten better at it. It's definitely hard to read minds, so I always
Oh,
appreciate some direction. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of designs lately, like big projects. Like I don't really do like one-offs much anymore. I'm doing like 5, 10 plus piece collections for people. So there's a lot, and usually they pretty much go with all of them. I'm pretty lucky there. So yeah.
yeah, I mean that's I've kind of come to love bigger projects because there, I mean, you just have the one thing to kind of focus on, but it takes longer, but then you can kind of go back and tweak stuff as opposed to just doing like one thing after the other, and it's just like so fast paced that you get kind of burnt out and everything.
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
so what's your process like? Do you like when you present them an idea, do you usually like sketch it on like on paper, or do you do it on Photoshop, just kind of like do a rough sketch and say, hey, here you go, or do you already kind of compile all the images and sort of do a rough?
I pretty much I pretty much just make everything. Like a lot of the times, like I just sit down, make the design, present it as a completed design. I don't like I honestly since I've done, a lot of stuff on my computer, I've kind of fallen out of sketching and drawing. Like sometimes like I will do like rough manipulations in Photoshop to kind of get an idea for a shirt design. But like when I pitch stuff to the client, it's almost always a finished, mocked up, like ready to go design.
Okay. Yeah, I would think like it'd probably save time as well because I think the more you do it, the better you get at reading minds. Even though
Yeah.
there are times when they don't like it and you have to kind of but I guess it's a more of a risk. It's a time saving risk than trying to
Hmm.
present them an idea and then having you kind of tweak it and all
Oh
that
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that can go, that can be quite a project. I think, yeah, it's definitely easier just to get it out. And then if they have like small changes, then I feel like it's a lot easier just to go in and do those than like trying to show them something that's like half finished and then them not really understanding how it's going to look and then, probably adding more work.
yeah, I find when you kind of give the client way too many options, it like just opens up a can of worms, and they're very like they become very picky and sort of like they almost become like an art director, and they're all like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, and you're just like, oh god, I should have just sent them the idea and been like done with it, but yeah,
Yeah.
lesson learned.
Yeah, I know. Like, I've kind of had the opposite problem at my job at the merch company that I worked for, because like we would want to mock up like a bunch of different colors of shirts, like to give them some options of, so they don't feel like they have to have a black t-shirt. And then some bands would be like, let's just do all of the colors. And it's like the company is like, oh my God, like please don't be showing them all these options. We can't be doing all of these different colors and all these different shirts.
Yeah. I mean, I even because when I design album artwork for bands, I was actually talking to Danny McBride. Danny, I think.
Yep.
I was saying I present the band with the most like basic scribble of like idea sketch,
Hmm.
just so it gives me more wiggle room. Like because sometimes the idea like isn't going to work, and then you're like, oh crap, like I have to sort of rework this, but the sketch is so vague that I can kind of do that,
Right.
and it just gives the band the idea of like, okay, this is what the concept will be. So it prevents me from having to like spend so much time on a design and have them like reject it and go, oh crap, like
Yeah, I
so
think it makes sense for the kind of work that you do for sure. Because it's more of like
yeah.
concept work.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because sometimes the band will give me like free reign to do whatever, and like sometimes I'll have more difficulty doing that rather
Hmm.
than them giving me an outline of of kind of what they want, and it's just
Exactly.
like
Yeah, I know that feeling for sure. It's one of those things where it's like you kind of start to overthink because you don't like you've heard it so many times in your head, like, well, we want to see more of this, or it needs to be more original to us. And it's like, well, how am I gonna do this? Like, I don't know. I get so in my head about it, and then like I look at the stuff I make, and I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna hate it. But then it ends up being fine. It's just there's just so much stress that goes into it.
yeah. And then it like I just finished a album cover recently, and like the guy, I've worked with him before, and he's always just so like do whatever you want, and like 9 times out of 10 I'll just send him the thing, he's like, that looks great. But sometimes I'm like, does he really like it, or is he just being nice? Or because like you kind of want a little bit of like critique just
Yeah,
because they care. It shows you that they sort of care in a way.
exactly.
And you're like, but there are days where you're super busy and you're just like, okay, cool, I can move on. They like it, and
Hmm.
go forward.
Yeah, I know. That's always to me like the greatest part of finishing a project is just like just the relief. It's like it's over. Like I've done it. They like it. It's like now I can move on to the next thing. Like I don't know if it's just me, like who I am as a person, but I love being able to just finish things, like just to cross it off a list and just be like, oh my God, it's done. I made it. I made it through.
Oh yeah, I'm 100%. I agree with that 100%. Like I can't even sometimes I can't even start something else without finishing another thing. Like I have
Mhm.
to finish it because it's just like like the OCD. I'm like, okay, well I can't focus on this new thing because I have this. What if there are changes and they're gonna like I'm gonna be working on this new thing and then they're gonna email me
Oh,
and then I'm gonna have to like completely switch gears and
oh my God. It's that is always so tough. Like you try to kind of space things out in a way, but somehow it always ends up piling on top of each other and you have like all these different things you have to do. And then, oh my God, it's like I'll have projects scheduled and that have been in my schedule for like a month. Like I've prepared for this, I've been like researching, and I've been, excited to work on this thing. And then I start to work on it, and then like I get, a merch company who needs something last minute. So I have to put that thing down and work on this last minute thing. And then that last minute thing has changes. So then it keeps pushing this project back. And it's like, by the time I actually have time to work on it, it's like, I feel like I have half of the time that I would have had. And it's just that part is definitely stressful.
Yeah, because I used to work for a sign shop, and it was like really fast paced. Like,
Mhm.
you get picking up the phone, you're trying to email somebody, and then like someone walks into the shop and asks a question. So I'm kind of used to that, but it's still tough. Like even my current job is very much like that too. It's like, I mean,
Mhm.
I get to work from home, but it's like just bombardment of like changes and just like, I need this right now. Don't worry about the other thing that I was having you do. Just do this right now. I'm like, okay, and then you're just like going
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, that was like one of the big reasons why I started freelancing full time, because it just felt like, I don't know, I felt like I could never concentrate on what I needed to get done because there was always someone after me about something. And this is now my second year freelancing full time. And honestly, like, I don't know, I've enjoyed it so much. Like it has changed my whole life. Like being able to kind of set your own schedule and not feeling like you have to do like damage control as soon as you wake up in the morning. Like everything, it's pretty quiet, compared to having, these account managers always after you asking for stuff, and then you have like actual big projects you need to work on. I mean, it's still kind of similar in a way, like because I do have a lot of stuff going on all the time, but like just being able to work on my own schedule and not having someone after me is like the best.
Yeah, I like getting the work. I like the work coming in, and I like having like a schedule, and then I complete those jobs. But like I like to be like it to be quiet while I'm finishing those jobs. And then
Yeah.
once all that stuff's complete, then they can email me, because it's like, again, yeah, just the stress level of just like you're working on something, and then you can see the emails popping up saying, "Oh, I need these changes and that change,"
Oh my
all that
gosh,
stuff.
yeah. I know how that feels.
So you've been freelance for the last 2 years. So what's your daily routine like? Do you have a schedule where you kind of get up at the same time, have your coffee, and do all that stuff, or is it just sort of like sporadic, work until like 3 in the morning, or
Luckily, I've been pretty good with setting a schedule. I think that was really important to me because I know that when I had a full-time job and then I was also freelancing on the side, it felt like I never had any time to myself. So when I was going to start freelancing, I wanted to make it so that I could have a work-life balance. So I get up around the same time every day. I let my dog out, I have breakfast, and then I will check emails. Um, and if there's stuff that needs to be done right then and there, I'll get it done. Like if it's changes or whatever, I'll get those done, and then I'll take a break. uh my way of taking a break is playing Night Rain, the Elden Ring Night Rain
oh,
game.
okay, is that a game
Yeah,
or a PlayStation or
on
okay?
Xbox. Yeah,
Oh,
so that's
Xbox. Okay.
yeah, and they're like 45-minute games, so it gives me time to just kind of like relax. Sometimes, like right now, we're going through a renovation downstairs, so I don't have an office. My office is in my living room, so I'll sit on the couch and I'll be playing my game, but I'll have something I'm working on my computer, and I can kind of glance over at it because it helps me kind of like, it feels like my brain isn't so focused on the design. Like I can actually like think a little more when I'm focused on playing my game and kind of can peek at the design.
Yeah.
And it definitely helps with like um creative block, because I know, like, I'm sure you feel the same way. You can just sit there and look at something for so long and move pixels around a screen for what seems like forever, and it's like you feel like you're not making any good progress on anything. But just taking that break, like walking away, doing something else, and then coming back, it's like it's clarity is like, it's amazing. um, so yeah, that's kind of what I do throughout the day, and I try to get at least one design like finished a day. Because I mean, sometimes more depending on how pushed back my schedule gets, but like my main goal is to have a design finished or to a point where it's like the bulk of the design is finished, and then maybe I can come back the next day and kind of just tweak a few things after I've been able to sleep and come back with fresh eyes. But yeah, I try to finish work around 5, sometimes 6. Yeah, it's pretty structured, luckily.
Yeah, I kind of, because this is like because I used to always work in the office, and for the last 3 years, I've been kind of working remotely.
Mhm.
And it's been kind of a somewhat of a struggle just because, yeah, I was so used to being forced to go to an office and like you kind of have to do, but now I'm like, I usually get up at like 6:45 and then I, make my kid breakfast. He goes to school, my wife goes to work, and then I work out and then but I take my time working out. Like I probably could be a little bit quicker, but I'm always like just like in between sets. I'm just like, on, TikTok or whatever.
Right.
But by the time I like start working, it's like probably like 10:30, and like
Mhm.
I probably could be a little bit better than that, but it's so hard to like keep a structure. But at least I'm consistent with my current schedule right now. Like
Mhm.
but also having our new cat, or she's only 10 months old, so she's very needy. So it's
Uh-huh.
like I have to kind of like sneak into the living room so she doesn't like, when she's sleeping in her cot, I don't wake her up, because then
Aw.
it throws the creative process off sometimes when you're, have to change, switch gears, whatever. But
I know my dog back here. I've had her for about a
oh,
year.
I
Yeah,
just
little
noticed.
Lily. Yeah, she for a while, it took her a while to kind of get used to the schedule of things, and there were times where, and I think she's kind of more of my husband's dog. Like she just likes
Okay.
men more for some reason. Like we get along great. Like she loves me, but she loves my husband more. And when he would leave for work, she would cry and be wandering around the house and like wondering when he's going to come back. And it was like trying to work with that incessant whining is just like the worst. But luckily now she's settled down and she rests most of the day. But I still have to be careful, like if I have to go get a drink or something, because then she's gonna wake up and want to like go and play. And it's like, I can't. I gotta work.
Yeah, I think to non-creative people, they kind of look at us and go, oh well, you get to work from home, you get to do that. But like, because my sister is an artist as well, and she does painting and all that stuff, and it's the same story. It's like you have to be that mindset, yeah, that flow state, and the moment it gets disrupted, it's like it affects your overall like creativity.
For
And I think
sure.
yeah, a lot of non-artists don't understand that.
Yeah, no, and like they don't, yes, exactly. Like that was a big problem when I worked at this merch company. I used to work there every day, and then COVID happened, and then we got to work from home, and then we kind of just didn't really return to the office full time. Like I was there like once a week. And it's always just like, for me, it was so difficult to concentrate because there's always so much going on, like around you. Like if you're sharing an office with other people, my department didn't have like cubicles. It was like an open kind of layout plan, and it was just there's people talking and walking around, and people coming up to you to talk about things, and it's like it was so hard to get in the mindset of you need to work on this, you need to get this thing done, because it was just so many interruptions. And I know working from home, like it has saved me. Truly, like I mean, I don't know, like just the quiet, and I could just like play music on my computer and just drown out any like street noise and just chill. It's really, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to kind of thank my lucky stars sometimes, like just being able to like work in like creative industry for like the last 18 years, like because a lot of
Mhm.
people don't get that opportunity, or they just, they so yeah, I think being able to work from home is like definitely like a blessing, like because our work, I mean, that's literally what you can do. Like you can even go on vacation, bring your laptop,
Yeah.
and like work on stuff if you want to and all that stuff. So
Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know. I feel safe, and I just feel like, I don't know, it's just, to me it's just the best way for me to work, and I can't wait until I finally have my office done, because then I'll finally like, be able to decorate it how I want. And you know, not that I want to work later, but on days or weekends where I do have to work, I can be separate from the living room because with my husband behind me, like watching TV or playing video games, it gets pretty, it's a little dicey.
Does he like go to the office, or does he like work
So
outside the house?
yeah, he is like it's hard to explain. He works on cars, but he does like the sensors and everything. Like he tests all the sensors for like backup cameras and all this stuff. So yeah, he
Okay.
goes to his garage, where he works. So I have the whole day to myself just to work. But if it's ever, if I ever have to work after hours, like the willpower has to be really strong.
Oh yeah, I mean, because I have, yeah, like I usually like cook, and I have like I do the dishes, and there's like things around the house that you have to kind of get done, and like yeah, like sometimes my current job, like they'll tell me after, they don't want to contact me after 5, but the my supervisor, she actually lives in Florida, so she's like 3 hours ahead of me. So like,
Oh,
so she'll like say, "Hey, can you do this?" And it's like not realizing that's like it's like 7 o'clock my time. I'm like, it's kind of late, but
I use that to my advantage because I'm in New York and a lot of the people I work with are like in California. So it's like I know that if I get up early, if I'm running late and I can finish something, I'll be getting it to them just as they start to wake up. And that's like, it feels like magic.
oh yeah, yeah. She'll email me like I'll like barely be like my eye will barely be open like at like 6, and then I see my phone kind of going off, and she's like assigning me stuff. I was like, what the hell? It's only 6. Oh wait, it's 9. It's 9 in Florida. So I'm like, crap.
Right. That must be the reverse must be kind of stressful.
So I know I always bring up this topic with all my guests, but I think it's kind of like required. But like AI, um, have you utilized AI in any way, or do you kind of stay away from it completely?
I, I kind of think of it as like a good tool. Like it's kind of like a loaded question because it's like I can do everything that I do without it because that's kind of how I've gotten to where I am. But I think that it can be used as a tool to make things a little easier. Like for example, a lot of the work that I do is image based, and a lot of the times it's hard to find different angles of the image that you're working with. So to be able to like generate an image of a different angle of something that you want to make, that that's helpful. I don't agree with people who use AI, like, first of all, bypassing artists to use AI and just, that whole thing. And then artists who, like, pretty much everything they do is just made of AI. Because to me, it's almost like you're kind of losing the point of why you're doing this. Like, you're supposed to be creative and you're supposed to, enjoy creating. That's why I think it's a good tool, but not necessarily don't make your whole design like it should still be your creative work. It should be something that you've put your time and effort and your stamp on. It should not be, going on Midjourney and generating a complete image and then that's it.
Yeah, I kind of, because I think Photoshop's always kind of had like kind of built-in AI tools before this whole generative thing, like
Hmm.
like the mask tool and all this other stuff. But like, yeah, I mean, the only time I've used it was for my current job, and like, sometimes I'll get a band photo, and it'd be like, half the guy's face would be gone or something, or
Right.
his arm would be cut off, and I need to make assets for like online, so I would use like the generative fill to kind of fill up the picture,
Hmm.
or if like they needed some kind of element in the background, or like like they assigned me some like how to make a Hawaiian like food dish, and I was like, what the hell, like how am I going to find an image? So I just generated like Hawaiian, and it generated some kind of cartoonish thing, and I was like, oh,
Oh
okay, I
God.
sort of made it work. But
Hmm.
that's for my current job. Like I've never used it for my own artwork. I usually do kind of just
Hmm.
like just use my own stock images, or I go on Adobe stock and buy stuff, or I
Right.
render something in Daz, yada yada yada. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I think that's, yeah, like you said, the tool aspect of AI is handy. It's a time saver for sure.
Mhm.
But when it becomes kind of like when people who aren't really artists, they kind of generate stuff just to either sell prints, or they sell like, t-shirts with just like bad AI art, like just to make money. Like
I
that's
hate it.
my issue.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like the AI slop you see on social media, it drives me absolutely insane. Um, yeah, I think there's a time and a place to utilize it. I mean, to me, the biggest thing is I hate the effect on the environment that it has. Like that is such like that right there is like the main reason why. Like if I can avoid it, if I can figure it out, if I have enough time to like search, Adobe stock and like find what I need, then I'm absolutely going to do that. But if it's one of those things where a client needs something right now and it's like it doesn't, the image that they want doesn't exist, it helps. I find that, AI is the most helpful, like not necessarily in a design standpoint, but like, for example, if you're doing a tour shirt for a band and they send you all the dates and everything, and it's kind of not really formatted. I need stuff into columns. Like I want the dates in a column, the state and the venue all separate columns. Being able to like plug that into Chat GPT and be like, okay, separate this out into separate columns. That makes my job so much easier. Because I mean, it's one of those things where you don't want to mess up, you don't want to make typos, you don't want to like have human error in that type of situation. Obviously, I've spent many hours doing exactly that, but being able to like have a tool that kind of makes that part, like just this, tedious part, a little easier. I really appreciate having that.
Yeah, actually, I've only like recently, like the last 3 years, actually started using the newest Photoshop, like the C or whatever, the Creative Cloud Photoshop.
Yeah.
Before I was like literally using like a 2010 Photoshop and software,
Yeah,
and
at least
like
you didn't have to pay the subscription though.
that's true. I mean, I kind of I had to because I got a Mac Mini, and like obviously it doesn't have a drive, and they don't even
Mm,
make a disk anymore for Photoshop and Illustrator. So yeah,
right.
so I was like kind of like learning all this stuff with like because my current gig we have a lot of like we have a line like a band lineup for a certain event, and you can like save the file in the cloud and then just change that file and it'll update all the other files that you already made. So like instead of going to each file and you know recorrect correcting stuff, you can just kind of
Yeah.
change the one and then it'll automatically update everything else. And I'm like, that's pretty handy. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not really AI, but it's kind of like makes things
Yeah,
easier.
like
But
automates, kind of like working with smart objects across
yeah,
like multiple parts of a design or whatever. Yeah,
yeah, 'cause
I
that's
love tools like that just makes your life a little bit easier. Because I mean, building something out of nothing, I mean, it's kind of amazing. Like, I don't know, like for me, like when I think about like when I start a project and I have like just nothing on my screen to come out with something that I really like. I mean, that's a lot of work and there's a lot of hours. Like you would spend like 2 full days working on one thing, you know, to make it perfect. And it's like just having those little tools to kind of just streamline things a little bit and just make it a little less like you're fighting your computer. Like just every aspect.
yeah. I kind of because like lately I've been struggling with just with like creative block, not necessarily creative block, but like motivation to sort of start. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on my first piece of 2026, and it's just like I've been tweaking it for like the last 3 weeks, and normally I'm pretty quick. Like I'll finish something in a few days, but for some
Mm-hmm.
reason I'm just like I'll like try something out. Oh, this doesn't look right, so I'll just like set it to the side, and yeah, I finally am settled with something, but I haven't looked at it in a few days, so I'm kind of worried. I'm gonna look at it and go like, damn it, like I don't know what to do next.
I wish I could do that. Like, I think about the cool things I could make if I had the time to do it. Like, between all the client work and then just wanting time off because I'm burnt out from doing so much in a week. Like, I don't really have the motivation to like want to make personal work or to try to learn something, new. Like, I've wanted to learn how to use the 3D programs, kind of like how you do, because that would solve a ton of my problems. Or like learning how to illustrate again would be incredible, but it's like I just don't have the bandwidth to do it all. It's like on a weekend, you're not going to catch me on my computer if I don't have to be there. So, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I think it's different when you're actually you're making money off of like you're. It's not like you're making money off a hobby. It's like you're literally that's your job to to help you
right.
survive. So I mean that's the priority you should always take. But yeah, for
Mhm.
me, like I've been doing a lot more. Like I've been like messing with like gouache painting and like I did a portrait for my buddy, Ozzy Osbourne portrait in gouache,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
so I've been kind of trying to do more because I used to draw a lot. I took like art courses in college and like life drawing, and I wish I kind of focused more on that, but I sort of I got so into the whole digital, doing album covers, Photoshop, that I sort of lost a little bit of that skill, but it's still there. It's just I have to kind of like retrain myself to draw and stuff like that. But yeah, it's
Right.
it's a nice like little break because sometimes you're staring at a screen for so long that just looking at a piece of paper and drawing with a lamp, it's like so
Mhm.
like soothing. There's something soothing about it, like you're not connected to any technology.
Yeah, yeah, I wish. I wish I could do it. I don't know, like I haven't drawn in so long. Like I mean, I can like I do a lot of like line art stuff like an illustrator, which is fun. I really enjoy that. But like for some reason when I want to like draw on paper, like it's just I just haven't done it in so long. It's just like I can do like little scribbles here or there, like, scan those and put those into designs, but like I wish I could do the stuff I did back in college because even that was fun. Being able to do that. Like computers are awesome, but like there's nothing that beats, painting and drawing on paper.
Yeah, and especially when you have like a tangible like piece of art that it kind of like I was telling my sister, it's like you're painting stuff that people can hang on their wall, and that's your artwork. You've had your hands on it. But for me, it's like I can sell a print, and it's like it's just you can just duplicate that a million times, and it's like to make that special, it's a little bit more challenging. Like you can,
Mm.
I guess, do embellishments and things like that, but for the most part, it's so that's kind of what I'm like hoping to do is do more traditional stuff and like maybe start doing that with album artwork way in the future because I'm still not great,
All right.
at that. So, um, but what about you? I know because I know I've seen you do album covers before. Do you still do those? Like, if someone were to approach you asking for album art, would you take that on, or would you kind of like have you moved on from doing album artwork?
I think it kind of depends on the client. Like mostly do merch design now. I sometimes do logos and I sometimes do covers. Like a lot of the stuff I don't really share it because it's not really what I do full time. I've done a few covers, but yeah, I enjoy doing them and I'd love to do them more. But I think because like my Instagram is just full of merch. People just think I can just do merch and that's just what I do. I probably should post some covers, but I don't know. I enjoy them, but I kind of think in a way that they need more time to work on that kind of stuff. And with the way my schedule works and with all the projects that I do, it's just kind of hard to devote the amount of time that's needed to make something like that. Because like with at least with like merch designs, like when I put all of my like grain and texture and everything, it kind of ties everything together and it makes it like it looks finished. But like with a cover, some people kind of want more. Like they don't really want. I mean, some people do, but like a merch design on a cover, they want it to be like more of like a crisp, clear kind of look. And I feel like that would take definitely more time for me to do. It's not something I could crank out in a day. So yeah, I mean, I do them sometimes, but I prefer merch to be honest. It's just more like my groove.
Yeah, kind of because even like looking through your website and your Instagram, you have that very like design, like everything is very cohesive. Like you have like your branding, black and white, and then everything's kind of I
Mhm.
always like that kind of stuff, like making everything sort of like cohesive, and I think that's the designer side in me.
Mhm.
Um, would you consider yourself more of a like designer versus an artist? Or I mean, they're kind of both, but there's definitely designers have more of a there's a purpose of why they pick certain fonts, certain
Yeah,
hierarchies and things like that. But what like I mean,
I think I started as an artist, but then I'm definitely more of like the design standpoint. Like I love design. If it's not graphic design, it's interior design. I'm obsessed with it. I spend every waking moment of my life thinking about it. Like like layout and fonts and composition and even if something is like streetwear, like cool placements on a shirt, um, you know, it's definitely I think more design. Like I love art and I wish I could do more art, but I think that just I'm definitely more of a designer. Like layout, I think layout and fonts and everything is just like I love it.
yeah, I've kind of grown to. I mean, I've grown to like it more and more. I think it's important to have knowledge of a little bit of both because
Mm.
oftentimes, like I've seen, like amazing artists, like a band will have like an amazing art piece of artwork, but then the logo or the font would just be terrible.
Mhm.
And it would just like I would look at it and go, "Ooh, that would be so amazing if that font was like,
Yeah.
something different." Because that was just for me, just from a it just looks bad. But I think that's just the designer in me as well because I kind of like okay when I design something I always think about okay where I'm going to put the logo, what kind of
Mhm.
treatment is the logo going to be, and
Right. Yeah, I know like when I was the art director um at the merch company I worked at, we would, hire, freelance illustrators to work on projects if we needed the extra help. But I would kind of insist on doing the layout work myself. Like they can just do the illustration, then I'll get it mocked up on a shirt because that's kind of something I've noticed with a lot of like illustrators. I mean, not everyone, but some people they just kind of struggle on, how big to make the text on the design or, how high up it should be or, what font works with the art that they've made. So I think it's a good to kind of collaborate in that way. Um, but yeah, I totally agree. It's tough when you see really cool art with a really bad logo on it.
yeah, and I think that was like there's a certain charm to it because you look at like old covers like from the 70s and the 80s, like you would just see this photograph. And it'll be a good photograph, but then the font will be like Arial or something. You're like weird, like that's a weird choice of
Hey, it's
font,
all
but
coming back around, like the stretched Arial font, like where it's just completely like anti-design. It's all coming back.
yeah, that's interesting. It's kind of yeah, it's like the punk rock of this design, like or it's not gonna follow the. I know what looks good, but I'm gonna purposely make it look kind of not good.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun to play around with.
so so we all kind of like I'm still waiting for that one big band or that big gig to kind of like catapult my career as at least as a freelancer. What project did you work on that was like that kind of changed your your career in terms of like getting more work, or like you said you mentioned before you got handpicked by somebody to do the merch. Like what
Hmm.
was the piece that they saw or that convinced
Well,
them?
that I mean, I honestly like they had just found my work like because they were local to me. They had just seen the work that I've been doing for local bands, and I don't know if they must have just been hiring or I don't really know exactly what happened. But they contacted me and they're like, "Hey, we really like your work, and we'd like you to work for us." Um, but I would say like, you know, becoming art director there and then getting to work with Spirit Box is what has like catapulted my career for me. Like they are pretty much the reason why I can freelance full time. Um, I think that they're such an awesome band, and I've enjoyed watching them grow over the years. And it's exciting to know that I've kind of been there, not since the very beginning. I started working with them in 2019, but
Okay.
yeah, just to be a part of their journey and being called on to do their merch every single time and do all these big collections for them. And I don't know, it's just been like that to me has what has like made my career what it is, especially like recently in the last year with the Tsunami Sea tour that they did. I've been getting a ton of new followers and a lot of new clients wanting to work with me. And yeah, I definitely credit them for a lot of what I have.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I've heard the band. Like, I mean, I listen to a lot of like heavy metal, and but I think like I guess Spirit Box kind of a newer band. I know the lead singer. She was in this like I Wrestled the Bear once or something. I
Yeah.
guess I recognized her. I was like, wasn't she in that one like kind of hardcore band? And then so I was like very kind of thrown off. But then I was like, I know they've really blown up as of late. I mean,
Sure.
like this, yeah. So, but I appreciate when a band like hypes up the artist that they work with because there's so many cases where it's like you'll do something for a band and they won't even like link your profile, your website, and it's always just like really that's like the
I
I'm not one.
know.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
it's one
one
of
to
those
like
things.
complain, but yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't have it anywhere in a contract that they need to credit me, but when they do, it's like the most helpful thing for my business. Like I know Courtney from Spirit Box reposted a couple of the designs I did for the most recent run of their Tsunami Sea tour, and just the amount of views that, like the amount of eyes that got on my work was insane. Like it literally takes just that one little bit of just like support that can just really help so much. And I wish a lot more bands realize that, especially because it's like, you see them always crediting photographers and videographers and all of that. And it's like, there's a lot of other creative people who are behind the scenes who don't really get that credit, and no one ever really knows who did the merch. So, or, the merch, album artwork, whatever. So definitely cool to be recognized for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, luckily for me, like majority of the bands I've worked with, they've always kind of like, said, hey, Kieran did my, hire him, do this, and it's helped. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, it just like just a simple mention of, being kind of connected with that person is super helpful, and especially if they're kind of a bigger name.
Mm-hmm.
And that, yeah, it instantly makes you look cool. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
you're like,
Oh, I
oh,
know. Yeah. Do you have any like cool Instagram followers or like bucket list clients that follow you at all?
me.
Yeah.
I had what like years ago. I had James Hetfield from Metallica actually liked one of my posts,
That's
and it was like
awesome.
when he was more active on Instagram. This was like probably 2009. This was a long time ago.
Hmm.
And I was like, all like, oh, and then Bran Dowler from Macedon, the drummer, he shared one of my pieces on his Instagram,
Wow.
and he liked that. What else? Yeah, I mean that's the thing is just like I haven't really worked on like very big bands. Like the biggest band I've kind of worked with was probably this band called Withering Scorn, and it has past members of Megadeth in it, like the drummer for Megadeth and his brother played with Dave Mustaine. Like, well, the drummer played with them for about 10 years, I think.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean that's a challenge. It's just like catching the eye of someone of like of that stature is challenging. That's why I just I try to share as much as I can, and chances. I mean, I don't have you ever just contacted a band like directly and said, hey, do you like this artwork and you want to use it? Because I'm always like shy, like I don't like to do that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Honestly, like I haven't. I have been wanting to like make a PDF that I can send to people, kind of like introducing myself and showing some work that I've done and just kind of get my name out there. But like every time I do that, it seems, or like every time I think about wanting to do that, I kind of screw myself because then somehow I get like 10 projects in a week, and it's like, oh God, like I've just put myself out there to get more. Like I just need to, I need to just kind of stick with what I've got going on. And if there ever comes a time where it's too slow, then, maybe I'll do that. But it always happens to work out in that way where it's like I get a slow week and then it's like an avalanche. So I kind of just try to like stay put and just, wait for it to come to me. And it usually does. Like I feel very lucky. Like I've honestly never had to apply for a job, even when I worked, for in offices. I've always been like given the job, like whether it be from my professor or like friends recommending me and people hiring me off of that. Like I've never really had to put myself out there. I feel very grateful. Um, Maybe someday I'll reach out to some bands, but I kind of like my goal is to kind of world domination. Like let's just work with everyone. So maybe someday.
Yeah, I've sort of like, I always get stressed out because I haven't like got a project in a long time, and I'm like thinking, oh God, I need to like make more reels, or I got to do something, and then all of a sudden I'll get stuff and I'll be like, oh, phew, thank God I don't have to, but
Right. Yeah.
but yeah, there was a period where I lost my job and I was like unemployed for about 6 months, and I was just like, but this was like I was at this I worked at a sign shop for a beer distributor for like 15 years, so I had like literally I used like Corel Draw with the job, so like I wasn't keeping up to date with all the design software, and I was just doing Photoshop and Corel, and like
Right.
so when I was unemployed, I was like, oh shit, I don't know like InDesign, I don't know, I barely know Illustrator. So I
Right.
kind of basically had to scramble and kind of like just learn it all and kind of pick it up. And, luckily I was able to, I just sent a random email to my current job and was like, hey, are you guys hiring? Here's my resume. And then they hit me up, and I was like, oh, thank God. Because I was like one step from just like working like retail. Like I was
Oh,
just like, I was desperate. It was just like, okay,
yeah.
there's like nothing out there. And then, I'm 43. So it seems like the older you get, there is ageism in like the workforce. Like whether they tell you that's true or not, it's like, it's true. It's like, they're not going to
Mm-hmm.
hire an older guy when they can hire a younger person for cheaper or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know I think a big thing is just trying to keep up with everything that's going on. Like again with the AI, it's like I don't think it's going anywhere. It's just one of those things you kind of, even if you don't want to like really get to know it, I think it's good to know it a little bit because it's like I know my biggest fear is kind of just like falling behind and like with either design style or programs and whatever. Like I want to be able to do this for a long time. So I think it's definitely important just to kind of stay knowledgeable and, you know, keep yourself updated. And again, Pinterest is like incredible with inspiration and what's popular. And yeah.
So have you ever, you're probably going to say no, but have you ever thought of like a career change, like doing something totally
It's
different, like
it's
outside of
funny.
design?
If I wasn't doing graphic design, I think I would do interior design. I love it. Like it is it's like I don't know, like graphic design and like doing what I do. I love my job, but it's definitely one of those things where you do get burnt out and you do, get like creative block. But with interior design, like I just enjoy it so much. Like I enjoy all the different, styles. Like I'm really into like the kind of English cottage style design, like with the paneled walls and all this stuff. Um, yeah, I've gotten really into it since we've been working on our house. You should see my bedroom right now. I'm like, I had to have a creative outlet aside from work. So we had a bedroom that was covered in wall texture, like just this thick, almost like popcorn, but like way worse. I have
Okay.
scraped the entire thing by hand by myself in there, like just sheets and sheets, like just spending hours in there. And it helps me like think too about my work because it helps me like kind of clear my head and I can think more about, a design that maybe I'm stuck on. But yeah, like I don't know, interior design for me is like if that's probably going to be like my retire job for sure. I just love
Yeah, I mean,
it.
I think you kind of have a head, like a head start, if you do choose to do that, because you already have the design sensibilities, and all
Mhm.
that stuff. And
Gotta learn
yeah.
CAD though. Don't know how to do that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, for me it's like I really want to like I know a couple of animated or I can animate stuff like, but this my current gig, like I know they're gonna assign me some stuff. It's like, hey, can you make this like flyer animated? And I'm like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to
Ugh,
troubleshoot After Effects or something to kind of figure it out. But I usually do. That's how I work. Like I when I'm like have pressure, then I'm like, okay, I guess I have to learn this, and then I'll just do it. So I think
right.
that would be like the next thing is like animations or things like
Yeah,
that. But
I've seen like it's so frustrating. 'Cause it's like I've been wanting to learn After Effects. Of course, it's just another one of those things where you hardly have time to do anything outside of work. But I know that like you can make really cool effects in After Effects, like that you can then bring into Photoshop and use it for merch design, like specifically like that. I don't even know what you'd call it, like a CRT, like laser type look
oh yeah,
that you
yeah,
could
kind of like
do
old
that in
school.
that program. Yeah, because that's like so hard. Like I don't even know, I wouldn't even know where to start to really do it in Photoshop. But then like with that, it's like there's like a whole other like, door that could be opened just by learning how to do that kind of stuff. Ugh,
Yeah,
only
yeah,
there was enough
it's
time.
yeah, seriously, because I'm like I've been taking a break with like ZBrush because I ended up having to cancel my ZBrush subscription because they stopped. You have to kind of buy the full software now. Like they used to have this like $10 a month like entry level kind of core, and they
Yeah.
stopped doing that. So now I'm eyeing like different 3D kind of softwares, but again, I don't have time right at the moment to be like messing with you know all that sculpting and everything. But eventually, I want to get back into it, and yeah,
Yeah, for sure. That would be such a good skill to have, especially like I just think about how easy it would be like, oh, I want to take this person and rotate them like 45 degrees and have that image of them. Like, oh, it'd be life changing.
oh yeah. I mean, I've been using DAZ for the last 15 years, like, and I can't even like when I literally work with photos, I hate it now because it's like with DAZ, like I can literally go, okay, I can change the lighting, I can sort of make it more dramatic, and I can like if I decide, you know, hours in, like, oh, I don't like this lighting anymore, I can just easily change it. But when it's photography, it's like you have to kind of really commit to like,
Yeah.
the compositing and all that stuff. So I've definitely become like very much 3D. I mean, whether it's just a simple figure, it's like I have to. I can't. It sucks when I have to just use a photo.
I
So
know. Yeah, for sure. I know like I want to make layouts and I want to find the picture at the right angle that works for the text layout I want to do. And it's like you can literally spend hours just like downloading previews of stuff on Adobe Stock trying to find like the thing that you want. And then of course it's never exactly how you want it. Like I did a project recently where I wanted an image of a woman, but of course I couldn't get the exactly how I wanted, so I had to go in and Photoshop all of these long nails on her hands and then like move things around, like change her clothes and like add these things. It's like it takes so much time just to get to like the very basic image that you want to get, especially like if you have a clear vision of what you want to do, like with that project. It's just like the amount of work to make it possible, as opposed to if you could draw or if you could, have a 3D model, it'd probably make this so much easier.
yeah, totally. So last question. Like your like what would be your dream project to work on? I mean, I know you've mentioned Spirit Box, but if you could pick any client, anything to work on, what would that be?
Hmm. Well, um, you know, it's a tough one. I want to do work for Evanescence, uh, because it's kind of what got me into this kind of music to begin with. And I know Spirit Box is going on tour with Evanescence this summer, so I'm
Oh,
hoping
okay.
to kind of get a little kind of wiggle in there
Very possible.
somehow. But I think I'd also like to kind of step out and do maybe stuff for movies. like merch for movies, or even like working with From Software, who does the Dark Souls and Elden Ring games, like something with them, that would be incredible. Like that would be a total dream. Whether it's, you know, shirts or any kind of promotional stuff that they would need. I would love to be a part of that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, last and most important question.
Okay.
Cats or dogs?
Oh, I can't answer that.
I know. As your dog is in the background right there.
I know. I can't say it in front of her. I mean, I will say, my dog Daisy, who passed away a year or two ago now, I was a dog person. I mean, I love all animals. I'm like an all animal person, even bugs. I love everyone. But I think I just like how dogs, you know, how they're so like loving and just, I don't know. I mean, I love my cats too. They're also very loving, so it's very hard.
Yeah, I know it was a trick question. I know you. Yeah, I know you like animals and stuff like that. So I'm actually more of a cat person, but yeah, I mean, I do like dogs too, but I don't think I like when dogs go home. Like they can you know hang out, and then it's like okay.
I know, like in the short period of time when my dog had passed away, we didn't have a dog in the house, we just had cats. It seemed so much easier in a way, because like you don't have to take them outside or get their dinner. Like the cats just have their dry food that they can eat whenever, and you can give them wet food every so often. And I don't know, it did feel a little more relaxed, but I don't know, I couldn't live without a dog, I don't think.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Leanna, for doing this. I appreciate it. I'm sure you know you're super busy, and I'm always shocked that people agree to do these interviews because I'm like still kind of starting out. But yeah,
thank you so much for having me. I enjoy stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave a link to all your stuff below the video, and then yeah, is there any shout outs you want to give to anybody, or any secret knowledge, secret projects you want to tell us about?
Well, all I can say is there's a lot more Spirit Box stuff coming. We have a lot planned for this year. I'm sure there's gonna be much more than I know about, but yeah, just stay tuned for a bunch more Spirit Box stuff, because that's honestly, I feel like a lot of my Instagram followers follow me for that reason. So there's more coming.